I appreciate the invitation to come up here tonight. We've been working very hard. Many of you have probably seen us in your neighborhood and others. My name is Mitchell Poindexter. My wife Jennifer and baby Mackenzie are in the back. We live here in the district in Hilltop on 6th Avenue. We're extremely happy to be here in the neighborhood, and I look forward to the opportunity to serve as your council representative. I think there are some fairly significant issues facing us coming forward over the next 4 years. One of the most important being property rights and zoning issues as the zoning task force comes forward with its recommendations. And those are issues that are very near and dear to my heart and very important to me, and I want to have an absolute input into that based on how we feel as a community and as a district. I look forward to bringing our district together, not apart. Many of you, you obviously are Park Hill residents and have interest in Park Hill. We also have residents that are interested in Hilltop and residents that are obviously interested in all the new development that's going on in Lowry. And those are three very different concerns throughout the district, and we want to have the opportunity for everyone to have that ability to speak to all of their concerns and have that input put into the district. I think it's time for a change on City Council. I'd like to bring leadership, accountability, and direction back to the City Council from our district, and I look forward to your vote. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, and thanks to this forum tonight for all of us candidates in District 5. I'm R.J. Hours, District 5 candidate for council, and a little bit about myself. I lived in the Mayfair neighborhood for about 10 years and now live over in the Park Forest neighborhood by Windsor Gardens. My children go to Blessed Sacrament School here in Park Hill, though, so we're real frequenters of the neighborhood. I currently work for the American Cancer Society as Director of Government Relations, so if you all are enjoying clean indoor air in restaurants and bars and other businesses around Denver and the state, I was happy to help be a part of the coalition that worked with the legislature to pass that. Also worked 3 years ago to help pass the tobacco tax increase, Amendment 35, which has to date raised over $300 million for children's health care in Colorado and to extend Medicaid services to adults. I'm about results. I'm about accomplishing things, setting a goal, and going out and accomplishing it. I was really alarmed last September to read in the Rocky Mountain News about the attendance records of some council members at council committee meetings. I know it's a part-time job, but I feel that the full-time part of that is attending council and committee meetings. Began to think about getting into the race. Finally, this winter, talked to my family about it and made the decision. I did not take it lightly to get into the race. I have a great job. I love working with the Cancer Society and doing the things I'm able to do. But I think there's a lot that I can offer as an advocate for the people of District 5 at City Hall, being their advocate, asking the tough questions about upcoming projects like infrastructure, do we have the best cost estimates, etc. I want to be your advocate and ask the tough questions. Thank you very much.
Hello, friends and neighbors. I'm Marcia Johnson. I'm your City Councilwoman. I have lived in Park Hill since 1972. I have served on this board. I have served in the capacity of the Director of Greater Park Hill. I have been the chairman of the home tour. I've had my home on the tour. This last year, my husband and I were host and hostess at one of the Park Hill gardens. None of which would matter if in the last 4 years I hadn't paid attention to some of the things that I know matter here in Park Hill. For instance, the traffic on 17th Avenue, the other parkways, and the other arterials. And I'm happy to announce that on 17th Avenue will be one of only 3 dynamic speed display signs. And that's the sign that tells you what the speed limit is, and then has the digital piece underneath that tells you how fast you're going. It's the city's hope that this will really calm traffic, and I'm very pleased to have one of those come to Park Hill. The Cremeria and Colfax intersection that has been such a problem for all of us should be fixed this year with turn lanes and the widening. There's a zoning matter I want to bring before you that affects buildings in Park Hill and a 3 in South Park Hill. At the corner, I have a survey that the city would like you to take if you have ever used 911 services. So there's a blue sheet on the back paper, and if you'll pick that up, that would be very, very helpful. I am amazed at the 60 hours a week I spend on this job, but that's called part-time. And in fact, it's not called a part-time job. We're pretty well paid at $79,000 a year. I don't think that anyone in the city considers that a part-time job. I've never missed a meeting that I wasn't doing something that I thought was better for District 5 in lieu of the meeting that I might have missed. Different presidents of city council structure their committees differently, and for a year I was assigned to some committees not of my choosing that didn't have anything to do with this district. So I did use my time, I believe, accountably. I thank you for the opportunity, and of course I'm going to be asking for your vote. Thanks.
If we could start with RJ Alex, please. And the first question, are you concerned about the pace of new home development in Park Hill, the size of homes, and their impact on the character and affordability of homes in Park Hill? If so, given the fact that a new typology system and zoning code will take a long time to adopt and implement, what would you propose to do now about this issue?
Thank you for that question. Yes. Thank you. No. Yes, I am very concerned about what is going on, not only in Park Hill, but throughout the district in neighborhoods like Mayfair Park, Mayfair, historic Montclair. You know, neighborhoods that are aging, that have a great charm to them, and I think are the reason why many of us chose to live in this part of Denver. I am very concerned about what's happening. And let me tell you, there is a quick fix that could be had before any major zoning changes needed to occur, and that is amend what was called a few years back the Quick Wins 2 ordinance, which allowed this size and dimension of home to be built on some of these smaller lots. And I think we've all seen the outcome of some of those projects. You know, we need to think progressively about modernizing the city, certainly. But I don't think we should look at modernizing our housing at the expense of existing housing, at the expense of the investments of many of those who've lived in our neighborhoods in this district and throughout the city for a number of years. We really risk losing the charm, as I said earlier, that we have. And if I'm elected, one of my first actions will be to put together some legislation to immediately fix those design standards. You know, we had a problem about 12, 13 years ago with the pop tops, and we came up with an ordinance then that helped with bulk planes and those types of things. And I think Quick Wins 2 kind of undid some of that, intentionally or unintentionally. And I would really like to try to fix that to stave off some of this incredible size of home that's coming in. Thank you.
Marcia, would you like to have the question repeated?
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Are you concerned about the pace of new home development in Park Hill, the size of homes, and their impact on the character and affordability of homes in Park Hill? If so, given the fact that a new typology system and zoning code will take a long time to adopt and implement, what would you propose to do now about the issue?
Thank you. I think the most important impact of all of this change is the affordability when smaller homes are replaced by larger homes. And I think the ratio is about 3 to 1. What it costs a developer to buy a lot, he expects or she expects to make 3 times that much as a sale price, which does an awful lot about affordability. Doesn't help a bit about the diversity that we have. But I find embedded in the question something I would take exception to, and that is that I think that the typologies is the fastest thing we can implement. The Zoning Code Task Force stopped the work it was doing, focused on this problem, which is they're hearing from from throughout the city and said, we will now try to figure out something that enables neighborhoods to retain the character of homes within their neighborhood. They're not going to wait until the end of the zoning code task force work to implement improvements along the way. They're on a pretty fast track on this typologies issue. So I'm actually going to put all my eggs in that basket for now. Quick Wins 2 was so well attended by Susan Homiak, and I don't think it was ever the intention of Quick Wins 2 to make homes bigger. It was an intent to create open space. What didn't happen is any change in the side setback. You're allowed 5 feet side setback. It's often the case that the homes we're in don't have more space, but the buildings that are coming in build out to the maximum they're allowed, and they feel more crowded, and they feel larger. It's not only we who are affected, it's many throughout the city, and that's why the task force is addressing this issue. Thank you.
We've all heard it enough. Of course I'm interested. Show of hands, anyone sat on the zoning task, sorry Daryl, can't hear me. Anyone sat in on a zoning task force meeting in the room? A couple, 2, 3, 4? Okay, what do you think? You may or may not know this, but they're considering rewriting the entire zoning code. If any of you have ever had occasion to read the municipal code, it's fairly lengthy. And the thought process of rewriting the entire zoning code is incredible, actually. It will be a monstrous process and will take a great period of time. So putting all your eggs in that basket, there's a good chance that it'll be 5 to 10 years down the road before you ever see any of the results of that, in my opinion. So I think that's a tough issue to look at it that way. Now, having said that, I'm also a pro-development candidate. I work in the development business within the energy industry. And I don't believe under the current scenario that applying for preservation on our homes on a widespread basis is the right way to protect the homes either, because I work for a company that's responsible for building the power plants that turn the lights on, that keep the air conditioning in your homes. And if you look on the Landmark Preservation's website, they oppose the replacement of the single pane casement windows that are in most of our homes in our neighborhoods. And that's just atrocious, because those are terribly inefficient windows. And I don't believe the citizens of Colorado actually want to promote energy efficiency, but that's exactly what we're doing by applying the landmark preservation to a widespread view of the homes. And that I do not accept as reasonable, and I don't believe it makes sense.
Marcia, would you start with this question? And this is a little shorter question, easier to retain. What can City Council do to support small businesses in Park Hill?
Thank you. We have several small shopping centers in Park Hill, and many are thriving. One in particular, I pay an awful lot of attention to District 5. One in District 5 is not fully leased out, and that's too bad. We have a section at the web building where a small business person can walk in and get a tremendous amount of support, get a lot of questions answered about what they need to do, get shortcuts to the whole process of opening their business. We also have incubator services. There's a service at 700 Calumet where you can go and get advice and help incubating your business. The health and the vibrancy of our neighborhood is really enhanced. 22nd and Kearney is such a dynamic section. 23rd and Dahlia is so great. I think that that's where we gather and where we meet and greet and where we feel like we have a real neighborhood. So they're great barometers of the health of a community. And in District 5, with the exception, I think I'd like to see more businesses in the Oneida Shopping Center, but with the exception of that, I think that we're doing well in these economic times in our neighborhood. Thank you.
I think small business development is very important, and I think Colfax Colfax is one of our significant areas of small business development within the district. I'd like to see development that involves the community along Colfax. I'd like to see Colfax become an area where we can walk to meet, to be town meeting places. If you're familiar at all with the development that's going on at Lowry Town Center, it's a wonderful place where the community members can meet and hang out. It's not a through street, which is what Colfax essentially is these days. It's not a place where we can walk from our homes and sit down and meet, and that's where I'd like to spend my efforts, is turning Colfax into more of a residential friendly, more of a community friendly development and thoroughfare. Thank you.
I think there's a lot that elected officials can do to help promote businesses in their jurisdiction. About 20 years ago, I worked with a project through the Lieutenant Governor's office called the Always Buy Colorado program, and some of you may remember that. The name's still out there. I'm not quite sure who's running it anymore. But anyway, one of the things I would try to do is make the district office part of that incubator system that Marcia talked about a moment ago. I would like to be informed by excise and license and other city agencies as soon as businesses apply for business licenses, so that I can contact those folks and begin immediately to help walk them through the process, to talk with them about the neighborhood that they're coming into, whether it's Park Hill or Mayfair or any of the others here in District 5 that have, we have the Leedsdale corridor and the Colfax corridor as well. So really try to work with those folks hand in hand, walk them through, take them to neighborhood meetings so they can introduce themselves and their business to a variety of the neighborhoods here in the district, to help really foster a broader audience just beyond just the neighborhood that they might be located in. But I would really like to take a hands-on approach with that and work with folks in a promotional way. I think it's very appropriate. Thank you.
There has been much discussion about smart growth, establishing safer communities, and healthier living, as though these are three separate issues. In reference to Greenprint Denver, pedestrian and bicycle safety, and acknowledging limited funds and resources, what is your vision and ultimate plan for Denver as the best practices example of a livable community? And Mitch, it's your turn to go first.
It's not a speech.
That's an awful lot of question, and there's no chance in 2 minutes I can address that. However, having said that, I have occasion to work for a company that promotes green development. I absolutely support Greenprint Denver and its efforts. I would actually like to see the expansion of some of the renewable energy efforts for this city. And albeit, understand that the RTD system doesn't report to the city, however, or doesn't report to City Council. However, expanding issues like the hybrid bus systems that run up and down 16th Street Avenue, maybe potentially working with waste management to bring in trucks that are driving through our neighborhoods every day that are more that run off renewable energy or alternative fuels, or et cetera. Expanding the bike paths, I think, is great. We have a lot of issues facing the city, and I think City Council has a lot of tough things on its plate. I think our parks are beautiful and working, but I believe we have some tougher issues to face than building bike paths, to be honest with you. Thank you.
I think smart growth involves more than just, putting energy efficient windows into new homes. I think it also involves enabling folks when they do build new homes or businesses here in Denver to have available some guidance from the city about what other kinds of means they can employ to save water and to save, not just to save energy, but to maybe put some solar panels or other means of generating their own power so they can put back into the system a little bit. We won't have to build so many more coal-fired power plants, which some companies are talking about doing as part of the future of energy diversification. And I think that we need to put in the kinds of streetscaping and lawns and those things that are water efficient as well, and really need to adhere to that, not just when we're in a drought, but in the wetter times as well. Safer communities. How can we, as we build out or rebuild neighborhoods, how can we put in better lighting? How can we deploy the police more effectively in those areas? How do we make our communities more better able to, that police and neighbors can look out for each other with not so many impediments to doing that. As far as a livable community and Green Print Denver, I think trails and all of that are a great way to help make the city more navigable by other means other than cars. I think some kind of a trolley system or something could help deal with those areas that aren't served by RTD and the light rail to help fill in some of the gaps that we have on various corridors like Colfax and Alameda and the Leedsdale corridor, for instance. But I think that we've got to be really careful the kind of projects we go after and how much they cost.
Well, according to the mayor's own polls, 86% of you love the mayor and what he's doing, and 56% of you like what council is doing. Together, what we are doing in this administration, which has been a great deal of excitement, is we have started a methane plant out at the Lowry landfill. We have a wind farm going in at the jail. We are planting 1 million trees. 7,000 is the goal between someday and Arbor Day. Earth Day and Arbor Day, but it's probably going to reach 9,000, and that's not even counting the tree that Will and I are going to plant. We've gotten our check back for putting in the low flow, probably reinvested in it, replacing another one. We are, as a city, replacing, as we replace vehicles, we're replacing them with ones that use biofuels. It sounds like we have one vote yes and one vote no for the bicycle path connectivity that I've been working on very hard to connect Lowry and Stapleton with a bike path. This 10-block stretch would make a regional trail complete that starts at the Highline Canal at Waterton Canyon, takes you all the way through Littleton, Englewood, Denver. You can get off between Windsor Gardens and Fairmont Cemetery, go through Lowry, do the 10 blocks I'm working on, very complicated, half in Denver, half in Aurora, half above ground, open stream, half in underground. Get on Westerly Creek Park in Stapleton, which is a beautiful park, go all the way to Sand Creek and back to the Platte. So it's going very, very well, and I'm not going to quit working on it just because some people don't think bike paths are the most important thing to do. We're really on a great roll in this city, and I think that continuity with what we're doing is well worth punching through it.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time and effort.
I appreciate it. I don't know if I want to be there tomorrow, but next week.
We'll be here until 9 o'clock, and you really need to move it.